Energy upper danger west ena yakohwe ensem de ebi wo ho papa nyasem ketwa na debi na ebe kan yasem na so papa hosima aduana ba ko ebra so se di omen eho enkomo pensempense mu bre na aso se dem di kaka na ensem yensa ne da yepono so yedi kan TUC wo mo nsem mo de betu dwa seja wo mo tiate wo mo anfa anya ma biem sanse de komo gye ane omenye kuro wu akwan bia so adwa behwe tinti aban so wo hwae enkane abo no so ho munchemu aduonu num 25% dia ene o matuate no wo mo enya amfa amma sei Industrial and Commercial Workers Union o mo abechirim Ghana Medical Association tema District Labor Council wo munyina o ti se obi asem mo kan se TUC twetwe for pani owura kofi asamwa de o mu hwamo wa mo ono mo ani nkita ho wa mo mamane eyi o mo te ya ne se waka se strike no mo ko bi papa nan kasa so zi awere na woni oman mu nti dwumadia odi ye no anye wo mo ede we identity mu eba TUC no front na organized labor no front no ana se sei ena etie yedi eho enkomo na effect be kra na wo ede ema yen se oman eno da nchen a Michael Kwe Junior ono Professor Michael Kwe former ono ankasa so junior no nanze no ono ta kasenti former deputy speaker of parliament no saye mashibweni ema dome kwabenya ena akasa se ehun behia se amanyofo so hu emienu anasa amanyokuo emienu ahodo omo ano bere omen amanyose mu yie pa no won mu adwen beba saa ensem a Ewura Victoria Hama abetodwa se wo eye ni tape no eso ma we empia nkoto we so na we empia nkoto we so enye se we si we ya ebi pen nti ateka ne ho keka ho da bi won mu nhwe na afiasem no mwura mu yie de ese fata so mo ka ho asem no omo aka ne se de ese de ehun ni kwan so mbaji ho akinye so no mo adane ato ametuo akwakotwere de etwere na ehun enkomodie eni emu enkyeremu nso eno so yebedi ho enkomo ansa na lastly but not the least Ghana ye sika korabia ba ko agya we yensem esi dane de ama 44 merchant bank ekwa be ne fa so aye dane sika korabia ede ama 40s ebinumo ensem mo kan se wo mo nti mo has papa ye se bank no eka emene no na eka emene na hefo na de bank ne ka ama eka no emene bank no anye bia sika korabia bia nso no eka emene ne sa ton no ton ma no ho hawo ne ade firi ne so anase etisei obi interest wom ana obi interest nim ebebo omen ana emo omen yete se senate for omo shares wom no majority shares no omo offloadu a che se ehon nsensem aye deja ena no owura Andrew Awuni kane ona ne kasa ma wampani dada John Ejekum Kofo woni ye na pamfo omo ye think tank ye Center for Freedom and Accuracy omo akire mu se omo de will resist kwambia so se aban enane sa merchant bank no emfama 40s no ne yadane amomo dada ana se de o ka se omo rich agreement omo nsan bibia no sa ena etie we ni nkomo ayedie aspiring national organizer dema MPP amanyoko no owura Jombodu atena se dada na honorable Kojo Edu Asare ye adenta kanem na shebedwani ono nso atena se pedifo mama wache ama makwaba
ejoso
John mamisha sem free one sakra ne beko issues ne so no ye former vice president awonya ne baby ko Alhaji Ali Muhammad ate se ene na ne lecture no baso mi se first anniversary celebration emu an ye wo no ho asem te se boso kakra bi ma yansa na ye de enkomo no
mechia eti for na mo hwe no kre yanka se papa former vice president His Excellency Ali Muhammad in our fourth Republican Constitution, or even all time as a country, on the first person with the vice president, which made in 2 terms. We've had experiences of vices in this country, and it should tell you, say, or qualities via. So very na obi edin here in sheda ehun niema owo. But niema owo no ne man to me. Take you on like that. Nyame na o ma no ana oje and oje na mrepem mre a no pe. Until last year and nyame obeya nyame dia. Ukraine ni pasa na wasmo minus an entime hwe na ni din na anyira sa. Until ne kofo ne omo believe in niema obeye a form bibi a friend no Aliu Mama Foundation. I no ebe foundation ebe hwe na ne niema ni ne studio adi hu a owo no yato aso aye amano. Na in terms of ne studio adi hu dem say ye nyina any bet critical amongst all no yeah education, not only just about anybody but especially people of the north. Na yabwa na omo adisuano akonene.
Ese samampani etu ne bedi no.
Eno nti no omo hihye niema bebre. Last week for instance, a press conference to launch the foundation. Meme dey twa mu ye work akra ebe wie wo Accra Sports Stadium. Kwesiade Christians throughout the country abompae de ne crash nyamensa. Documentaries be kukoko so as part of the program. And ne lecture and launch of the foundation kasa Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and my lecture no. Na His Excellency President Kufuor, I chairman of the
former
occasion.
President Kufuor.
Well, I was a president. I'm told.
I says I come on for President Kufuor.
I was saying to me kind of Kufuor.
There's nothing wrong.
Oh, I said any petit tribute.
There's nothing wrong with saying President Kufuor.
Sometimes
there's nothing wrong with saying using President Kufuor.
But any point in time, you're one president.
No. Something you retire with.
Okay.
What you say? Enye Bibia America. Clinton,
for the sake of
International Press Center, 5 p.m. In Ebeshia or na yetie. No, abakosem na the foundation no any so that kind no President Kufuor na ebetina dwem na Dr. Mahmoud Baumia ama lecture no if you are there be Muslim prayers throughout the nation said for Christian prayers last Sunday no na adene pompon so ankasa ebe kwesiada
coming Sunday that's is it 17th
no 17th
okay.
No, you better what tamale. The final adwa. So
okay.
Final adwa no you better what tamale. Na we are the football match. So no you RTU
board member.
And here the football match you better crown no. A match between RTU and Wow Stars.
Okay.
Kwesi ada. Nti mesre say obia wo Ghana ho do. Obia ogidi say the Aliu Mama ebe boa Ghana no so we ni no me gidi say na de obeba ye nyina ye hia wo International Press Conference Center
okay
na kwesi ni kwesi ada no wa obenya ho ebe boa
tamale
ye nyina ebe kwa akoboa na yakata na chi fefefe nti eno na no shed
minim se na nipa bi suggestion say pushi senka tamale sports stadium hwe ne bra obeboy ni ade na fe wi echi kura na ne je football ho especially RTU no ye target say the pride of the north omo home grounds as say tamale sports stadium ki emfa ne din and to minim how far pushes agenda na kodu
no say ni there me ngini say for name push. Say I share because unfortunately for us as a country, we've not come to a level like a war non-partisan board bia etna say share nipa edwuma wabeye amane man na yedi na din eto bibia eho hia. Enti me say me be mani wo say yedi beto no na ochine bi obi beba na o sisa din na ye ni say enti say ya kasa ya dwen mu na ya chiri say wayadi abwa and sometimes enye din officially at better so ni asem no for instance Rollins Park to be fan to Rollins Park so say a friend Rollins oh dey be change nipa na near ma waye ene area owo omania eso no na ebe ma ye dey be to na I don't think but I believe say that would be the saddest thing in my life to realize say yeah, the book I got to know China way boss no atiase no
okay ompe kai bi ade honorable do asare quick one minim say papa no onni nya encounter bi pen ana bibi kakra bi a obeka ya fa no ho Alhaji Aliu Mahama 1 year down the line is ye kai no
I'm say mechi for no more hwe Badwam no pay answer. Na obi a wabedi vice president and as obi a wabedi vice president I want my way so say corner krechi a gidi say say on my no enunyam bi wo ho a yetimi de hye no na yeyi a ye de hye no we feel say obi a no oya otiase no oya very calm person, very ne ye bibre eye efe de onye obi a okasa he ne kasa butre ene ne dimina in general no bibia sebe ye fa bibi free mu a eyi na me amekai ye sani war against indiscipline.
Now
yeah, no ne ade ba ko a ebetime dia kai no amana yeyi as to whether it really made an impact is another matter, but at least it was an initiative worth starting. And you know, on a day like this, 1 year down the line, the only challenge I have, kakra, where it never be say happy na akoye party na nipa ko dom no. Omanya. So
as a statesman.
Exactly. And you know, me ni say programs here ya shishe sabi o minor kasa the state, not the government per se. What I say for me, your government and your state. And when somebody in this capacity, why a vice president da, ni mano ni bino as a state and then hujim. Na state didn't hujimwa, then there may be as I say yen. Except even a car be cry a beba who and say contributions be a state to submit me a yeno, nanka, why ye am an I don't know, I don't have the full information as to whether the state is involved or not. I'm saying John Pessoa. Okay. John.
Well, who's that? Sometimes some of these things, you know, they cannot start. But the essence they say all effort. I was a committee, you know, a year. Chief of staff or morning program. You know, Martin, I say some of the meetings. Maybe I overcast. Maybe a tight schedule. They weren't part of some of the meetings, but they are fully aware.
They've been informed.
No, not just informed. They are involved.
Okay.
You understand? But as to whether involvement is effectiveness and another matter. But beyond that, no, I think everything that needs to be done.
Okay. And that's what I wish for the whole thing to be. Say, enkobansa na ankoye se ye dia na say your modia nti na copy one side. Beyond that, I think he's left a legacy. He didn't die when yippee, but at least he played his role. He's done his bit, and we just hope bibi wo na betime dia kai na mana ye a me njindi se oye panyin bi ase de edin bi to no so ana se de bibi de di to bibi so na se ababan foforo bi ba be ye big deal, because as we sit here now NDC and our aban enye MPP and be tudin. So NDC na say a ban say the bibi atu ni din atu bibi so a ni say MPP and any other party for that matter about power ba sesa for just for the mere year of it.
Okay.
I think we will still express our condolences to the family after 1 year.
Ajia Alima Mahama
and family also. The ma and the Bushiafo 1 year on, I believe, say Yankopon Swachi or Moria fine. let's all move on in life and see what God has ahead of us.
Okay, me da CP. Nemom ebi anu ane African wear honda bia ye shirts aye hye ne ade. CJ fashion sadaroma na opam edema we kuma se amakom Jopo chemist enhwani mu hono mo a ben HFM stadium ho. Obetimi afre ne 0268 505021 0268 505021 CJ fashion bebo. And John, to be frank with you, IFF papa. And who say national organizer honhom na wura mu na ehho ahofa no so adware kama
orekoba omialecha
no comment
God yes just even free TUC and owura Kofi Asamoah na yedwetwe ne so we anam no ICU GMA and other groups no che say wanyi omo sutire omo te yanso ababontia ababekasa to omedi ne ho ya ho
getting say on say can organize labor and yet TUC pe ICU GMA Federation of Labor na omo decided say electricity ntumu no ano ehyedodo na because of that no omo been back on series of activities to push government better so and even omo request kra no omo ankasa yente so almost say government and graduate into mono on chichim
stagger on
chichim nti ekoba say government decided so what is so 25% and on some until they clear the 25% nanka ne pape mo a nka also call back no members no heads of because almost steering committee here all heads and secretaries of the various unions together no now came say meeting na nka to me I decided the next line of action but me engine is akoba sa eno ntina almost so express disquiet about decision almost take here no me gidi say way although and said anya the papa no several as bibia next time say we a leader now think of name for negotiation or for anything now say bibi bana obe take a decision or so musibia obey no sometimes depending on whatever it is no sometimes
but reading meanings into the action as to say one returning and as one come back to various unions no anko cheche mu anche on
as to
say I say or near bana kobem krumu
too much no there because of sanintino any other weird readings can be made any other weird reason because even if it turns out to be at the part mama typical example and I na me know NDC for try you super as an example honorable Safomafo and a call conference for Germany. Now a conference on other things. Into all the successes of Ghana. Now, Saturday I call HPK do completion point. We're the first country within 1.5 years they do completion points. Into all Ghana, German finance minister. I say, I don't want no until we in the manner says idea Obama immediate write-off. But when my write-off now, on to infana nonka, also call parliament, no meet about 3 days time as a day, or they call cabinet, no could take a decision, or they call parliament, no came. In this circumstance, and can the papa more, and cause of was all bagana. No we share the president, we share the cabinet, no we take a decision. But I dare see a child come. It's the two, they were not just since Simon was on with you. It's all bad, and then you are I didn't cry Germany Casamuni account one kind because they need the and now or approve ye. But I had the papa. My name so beautiful. Obetraka say I do ye at the bonnet. But because say one back Amber J approval from the cabinet and then the president. And I said one card you go because I was German. I say no, he has some because you try to come and you have to see everything all come. But you use against it now over the years. Mijini sa manche chemu se panga mijini sa uni. Yeah. ekoba sa nti to because oh na mo kra mo abemu some of sign contract on kan you understand? This is one typical example taking decision without coming back. Sometimes there an emergency war. Now emergency war I was all bet.
Okay.
It immediately say the air corner air banner. May you decision or take here one mechano as the main reason for support or not for support. Immediately say the other organization, other unions, so better not say. Normal share the effect of 25%. Say so many that decision will be taken.
John, me ba na ma ba bibisa san say o kan tam nyina say nya dia e betimi abase ye bete so say ye nya ate so ntim ba beti wonu asem ye nye nkra no mra sisi ye ye twa ye ho Badom TV Badwam dwumadie e na oguso a wo hwe mpense mu e na ye de ebro aspiring national organizer de ma MPP John Bodu na no gu asem so awaka John na me bisa me kai watena konwan mu aka mako me kai kra mprensa se mprennan se enya de a ye beti ade no so tisi ayate so
the thing is the economics of it is that say you to ade so and immediately prices e be cost say yate so o de obia o ye Ghana ni a auto electricity at least you to electricity way for 1 month obia share the consumption for 1 month. This year at 25%. No, obi doing free and on fat evidence in which them say the bill no so at 25%. Any possible.
As I can maintain say papa.
Any possible. Because say them catch on. Me check say I can say ya 278%. What you say? A average price any the amount. Because your system no a built-in system categories woman. There are other women teaching be instead of be or how the consumption increasing by 120%. The consumption increasing by 150%. The PURC here omojuma also omocheche categories any baby I'll follow any percentage account. Say you man my bisa obi anye. The account be based on them so percentage they increase based on 2010 price and they increasing by 78% and now 2010 price are year 2 more buying me and 2 no be factor because Sadia 5 cities near 2 call 8 cities now say me and 2 now be factor now the cost of production is not 5 cities 8 cities into calculating 78% incremental. Are you calculating on 5 cities or you are calculating on 8 cities? Or calculating on 5 cities are one can a service utility service provider no not just say you are deceiving yourself
campo
more there are more to these Nema air cost.
These are part of the questions I see you no keka ho no say the modalities in Nema go into 25% no omonye clear e wo ho
since year no yes you are so 25% but dated to 1st October yes you are hana year 2 more yes say what to people now credit no unit so now you see from 1st October no and want to hear the account. Are you telling me say who used to be from 1st October to now no ubenya credit and abenya then you understand? For me I think say some of these things and my proposals are the way actually.
John said the Osika said and I say nyum bi near to tre.
Oh, and nyum say near say be agrone form. We mean come and say me bo bi e hu.
Jomo no any agide say dey okay kura ye bu.
Oh no, we dey nyabte obia boso me so and aboso mienu no. For bills and the check is so better by 25%. This is one thing I proposed in 2007, 2008. Now, your friend is saying fuel prices no fluctuate. A cost woman aba from ti we na ba tum kese. E ba from kitu ebi na ba teso kitu ebi. The cost are buying loose in a so or ticket no and reflecting what prices. Once a pump na at so 1%. As for the consumer, the onya she. But ushe sika e involved na a big money na buy lose, but effect no a zero. It even proposes say why don't you let us create a fund that you windfall fall in the price because here tiswa mene o yenya ho faso na faso no ko ebia omo service providers and operators no na nka ye tiso sa na ye fa santo sa sika na faso na ebenja no ento sa futuro no na se da chi bi no price no cost ro ma na bro so na ye ko to so anka ye di so what is done everywhere when am chanti
anka ya fa nya djuma
send ye almost work calculate say adwenkyere de enye ebi outing chain no na o kire na ho ni say bia na omo ye ne sa ombebre or something I for policy there but oh yeah who so na be kire say decision that take it correct and enye correct
okay John
in my view no I think say pressure abeto aban so aban can severally say on so because we need resources no since the aban can say also copy 400 million Ghana cedis effect no will be on other things.
ECG so I can say a delay one day kra na also ho be kire wo.
PRC so Rabana Harmony din ko also we independent. Some of these because you say onjai the okeke ka no.
Okay. Mama go na bo address so na honorable enjemu
number 1 point B.
Oh wakasa che do.
Oh I'm sorry I'm only asking them 1 point B on this.
O da memo waka mani mi.
Okay. Le ubisa jo question wa ko won sa o hu be on this. Ubisa no simple question. John waka 3 times I was told you I say adi yente so. Omunde de amunte so. Direct question. Yate so na yente so. Abayate so.
O say ye ntwema bill ne mra ne say yate so.
Enye ono obeka say ye ntwema bill ne mra aban ate so. Na ti ayate so no. So also okasa no dey na whether it's based on minus subsidy minus subsidy or plus subsidy and whatever. You see, the government's subsidy, no, it's in monetary terms. What you say? Government subsidy. And you see, as I said, or buy a tier, edema ECG. What you say? So there is that base, and as a threshold, you agree as of that 2010. Into whatever the government absorbed, exactly, whatever the government absorbed, whatever part that the government absorbed is in monetary terms. As I buy tier, so if we are going to calculate anything, certainly it will be on the base plus government amount or subsidizing.
Maybe I will make it. Maybe I can just say the aban you no. I was saying you 20 honor didn't jina.
That can't.
And when I make us say I was a honor didn't jina. Name me be a ye intimate 20 na ban the association.
So it takes effect from that level. What you say? Into that calculation, no, and I be build the bibiato so. You be build the ediato so. What you say? Because that is the agreed figure ECG. I recommend you ECG by PURC, and I buy from that portion. So whatever increment will be on above that threshold. So it will be based there shouldn't be any ambiguity about whether or not say and I say. It is for us. I said, "Sir, we know your team want say what and no so answer."
After you labor front now,
because some information, we have to explain it. We'll come to the labor front. Second issue has to do with the fact that this 50 is it 8.9 or 59 point something from 78.9 about be do I think 59 point something. That component, includes all the levies and Nema all together. That is what was recommended. Say the total. And you say, yeah, we key 50, we are some we key levies. Abekan and no ambiguous. I'll be in him. But whatever levies that go to add up to the tariff that I recommend the amount, and I said that percentage I recommend the amount should include, and I said should be built into that 59 point something. I've forgotten the real figure. That is what
60, 59 point
almost 60. So there is no ambiguity about that. It is a card at the koto a year. Certainly 25% will reflect. It will reflect.
But honorable quickly said I will check retrospective effect.
Yes, that is a different matter. That is a different matter.
Because be a
certainly a calibration, and as I said, taking care of that because certainly from 1st October no what units dada nasa okoto unit fufro na odi share card ni mu etimi take retrospective effect. They should have the same or use the same mechanism. And I say they should be able to use the same mechanism exactly to recalibrate and get things rectified. For me, I think if that doesn't happen, then it's ECG. Because why do we have the courts? If someone can really calculate and know, say, Bibisa or Masa, they can massively mobilize people and go to court. And ECG, do you understand? I think we should be able to get to that point. But I think that's a far-fetched they did what was right in their it's a mrana bium say yeno 25%, and so they should be able and capable of rectifying the situation and bringing or reinstating people back to their original FNC. So there shouldn't be any challenge, and I said some challenge on this matter. Exactly. Okay. But moving on to the labor front, for me, as I keep saying, time strike, the same issues cropped up. Well, I can't share me, and I mean,
Ghana Federation of Labor.
Exactly. For me, if this thing has popped up again at this time, then it means there is something wrong with more leadership.
Now, a healthy mind as
it's not. It's not.
Say your labor front.
It's not. No matter how you look at it, it is not a good sign at all. And I like the way I think the Ashanti Regional TUC boss no put to. I think they should. Just,
is it Andre you may enjoy?
No, it's in graphic.
Okay.
Page 16, and I think said they should just close their ranks. They should not allow, because if you feel say omun dipado soon and young consort to more and there is some I think some the representation omnipado so they don't go when it comes to these negotiations. So that seemed to be gradually coming to the fore. That is what the ICU leader was saying.
Yes, negotiation.
That is something they will wish they had. When it comes to negotiations, representation. Yeah, or no body and representing. But of course, we can't have everybody represented. That's why among organized labor, one or two people, and I said 2 heads from the group are but gradually you can see they are also pushing for that autonomy and also to be able to come and get access to onto the negotiating table. Some power play is at work. You can see it, you can feel it, but I think it's not healthy. At any given time, we can have one leader. Well, the party say maybe leader back any here, but that leader should also know so say, and I say the botai should be say or jumana ma on behalf of others. So until their interest and their consultations be here say omobe yeah, you know, omo yeah part of it. That Kobana say oh ya penny and a young car and then that leads to the kind of friction that we are witnessing right now. It's not the best. They should close their ranks no matter what, because the GD say whatever it is, they are serving the same interest on behalf of their friends,
John,
members.
Just a minute now.
I think the explanation of mine bring to the 4 points now. Into electricity now auto 200. Also say from 2010 they bought 200 now turn 300 because I buy us for 100. Into say I can see 78% and yet 78% of 200. 78% of 300. If that is so, and it must be explained. Only 78%. In Tidanka first, not 200, I will use it in 2 weeks. In the 78%, at least I also use 1.5 weeks now. Also, who say 78% in a year canon, and yet on costs to you, a cost to your friend is saying service provider. No, whenever you into your cut 78%, who calculate the over who now, a better 120, 130%. 130.
Okay, the no behuno because subsidy now
explanation and why it didn't go for complaining.
All right, there is more to.
There's more.
I don't say a PRC for now. Say yes,
we just have to be complaining and fighting amongst
ourselves. But
there can't be. What's the mechanics to say? No government worth a sort can operate an independent automatic adjustment system. What is that, Mikasa?
You see, I said by January, Ebeba. Automatic adjustment by January, Ebeba.
Me say, no government, not even the extreme rightist government.
The government is unpopular, and I say danger.
And you say very unpopular. If it throw one Kasawa economy into disarray. So
and your man cost effective BBI.
Because because there are a lot of things any under the control of government. It's an indicator say leading to fall. No? For instance, we are the federal.
Yes, there's no hope inside too because they are okay there. So I never absorb in the near future. What's it? You're trying and I make sense into the near future. And let's have a utilities problem.
So we must be
postponement. Then inside the cancer hardship near postpone.
No.
So
must be real today.
What I am so them say we was in yan to was in HHM. My main call honorable Adwasa when I say call merchant bank the end answer. Make I say proud to 2012 election no. And one some sorry den ye to merchant bank I feel the we na say minimum cra na man yosem ya dey we mu no. Aban ni hold on for some time. He says Senate for majority shares. Or more of Ludu and on 40s. Finally, I say the deal now go through cry and so questions be about threshold I set Bank of Ghana set say bank be bet me and son no more operating on Gekaho, which said no more day back one back on first way ton, a seka and a bank in a day. Bank be the car ton and sana and Yama Akuyana said questions be meaning. Said asam na nkasa no obepese obefa no afa.
Master, you see, these are very key issues. Usually, when you want to discuss these things, you need to be given some prior
information
so that you can more because oba betiti ni na you don't really you are not educating the people. Wow. This is a subject it requires some kind of research. So if I knew this was going to be a year, I would have prepared.
Because was it Enrana? I say Enrana, Wednesday, Monday, and Andrew Awuni. Okay, so yeah, press conference, be and all deliberations about we, and then you maybe I wasn't Kayadrin Baswa, Yadrin Maso. So only insisted I say Ghana for rising up now.
Because like I'm saying, these issues be technical.
Yes.
Deeply technical. But I say you must come with history, of the
figures.
bank, facts, figures, and the reason for selling crap, buy, what precipitated.
Questions in the door.
You understand? But on the general, if I have to make a general comment, which for me, as of now, I just, but I think, sir, it's a government-owned company, Senate and other shareholders and all of that. And for some years, I think the company is under some kind of stress, debt management and other things. When a company is in that kind of distress, certainly you have to look for alternatives. And as I said, quite phobia, me such a company. We've seen so many of Yehubia are happening yet to me revamp a money. But the argument has always been say, ye ton ama Ghana ni ana say ye ton ama amanoni nipa na say, I mean, which is a very key issue. Yeah, what here, friends, the Nigerian banks so far, be 5 or 6, about Ghana bank. I think it's a good sign for them. Maybe as a Ghana, yenso yebede na dachi, yenso yakurira other countries. They said they are on my bay. So when issues like this come up, people want to know what.
Because among for bisa, you say among eka ni adie ewum. Eka ni adie ewum. Why mona de ka? The other side of it is should it be the case? Certain be buying you money. Yet me money go to the sense I just see a ton and sign.
That is the problem for me. I think say. What is in the best interest? The professionals in this matter are yet
more information.
Exactly, rather than when politicians get involved. Do you understand? Now, because we poison the atmosphere. Now, even if it makes sense, it makes professional sense. The politics then obliterates that agenda. I recall NIB, Ubekaya, some $60 million issue be for import of certain the managing director, any ceremony, bar, politics, echo frame. And then till today, that issue is hanging because of politics. Politicians took advantage and blah, 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 blah. And I know where this issue is driving at. Say, people want to hang some certain individuals say obudia ba out say omo edika wo ho, and that is the angle this whole thing might end up.
And so for saying the interest of the bank and the nation as a whole, but among for be pursued maybe just to track.
No. When I'm just saying okay. We won't get the clear picture because the BBS name dada.
Okay.
Well, personal dada.
As you bought before
ebema ye additional information bia ye de mano. Na say clue no or the intino. It must the final you must be premised or must end up being premised on that thing we expect.
But should it be the case as a time be issue banner the moment of politicians do mano any who remove and say no crana reference.
For me, it is a politician now. They no remuno and anka no, that's not the point. But the side they take,
I don't answer.
That is the point.
Okay,
the side, maybe or bet to a politician or banang sabio on shares aspects now me kana. Oh. Politicians can make comments and make
because please, one and we be but two issues be of national interest. And
I make cano because the moment you target,
what the first John, the document in that one.
About this 40s equity fund acquisition.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we do have some more topic, so I went back to my car to pick.
And it's all
information. As a program, you more my topic beforehand. As much as you can.
You just gather your own research.
You see a lot.
I know you have to blame your own Dominic.
Kweku back on the move.
Sometimes I get Dominic's fault. Maybe our decision to put particular topics on the program.
Ebi one my issues in the program and ban up and
No, but it will help. Asempa dear. Yeah, no, must send it, but sometimes I agree. But at least when the moment you 3, not 2, you have fun.
We're more technical issues. Would you any action you may get it wrong or get it right. Especially where not just about politicians, the lack of politician understanding of topic
the issues.
You understand?
I don't know about getting it wrong.
We were politician or take finance, I say, even on the other side. We can discuss this thing and end up. Because the questions are maybe some or idea about questions. For instance, or no, if you on take finance, I say, Fortis Equity Bank or investment bank. Any bank, investment equity bank. On Tia Sebeti, I say, bank or no equity company, now they cut up. Individuals at the company. On Tia Sebeti, Rebecca, na company so. Whatever. But a possible say, Ubenya company, a portfolio management company. I bet to me at top bank. Kakaka, now I'm managing. You understand? Say, I know you're possible. Not just say our managerial history. Bureau. The history, the transactions are here over the years now. And no bet to am in an argument.
Say, now when you
yeah, I mean, say data bank, for instance, our shares in a lot of companies, not just company banks, SSB, HFC, and all that. But data bank in itself is not a bank. You understand? But an investment bank, or manage, and some banks, you know, uncle manage say or no a day, or manage, or more network system, or more software system, and all that.
Day to day.
But on no professional capacity or one, we're exhibiting a lot of other investment portfolio, no, and no, they come. Any car or what, whatever. Jama, San Comoy, I be a wa. Everyone was said, a buy, a check a crack. Now say, Emra, say, Achimota Forest here to it. I buy issues statement. Oh, mentor me, ye say, and some back, I buy no other issue. The way there, it looks like a chedodo for my life.
Silent on watching.
A chedodo for my life because some of the questions need to be answered. For instance, Sir Fortis Private Equity Banking, yet in 2013 June, yeah. The first transaction, any transaction, all coming.
2013.
June 2013, yeah. The first transaction, any transaction, all coming. Meaning, say, only history, and even managing banks. So only history, so it does not preclude you from also engaging in that. Just to me prove say, promoters of the bank, it was our history, So individuals are a formal bank, a new bank.
You made my day. You've made my day. No, you made my day. You've made my day, trust me. Because that's exactly what I was going to say.
TC finance in account and
I thought the track was.
The fact that a new no so says on to business. But professional competence of people putting together, not directly, but sometimes almost one call for a war. And no better. More directorship, any management board, in this case, it will be difficult for anybody to conclude. Almost stated capital is around 5 million. Issues are here, can merchant bank, we are talking about stated capital of about 68 point something million. You understand? Almost 90% of the shares. Because by the arrangement, almost 90%. Of the shares. See, we are. We know now. Would they compare the with the Rand Bank? I am penny because we share with the Rand Bank now. Now Gombenya 75% of the shares.
And then South African.
And a South African bank, I war history, I war subsidiaries in a lot of countries, almost running for a period of time, almost $billions stated capital. You understand? But in itself, you know, yeah, another matter. You bet to me, I discuss it. Now, first round, they for 75%. And they were offering $91 million. And I know you can't once a man, uncle. We know Fortis Bank number for 90%, but almost offer only 41.09 million Ghana cedis.
Difference in this.
That is half of the money and could be offered. Young peneso, and because of elections, you know, you're chasing sign. Obiaba almost half. Half now all man so no for 90%. Nipakra no almost double of what you were going to take, you know, for 75%. Then comes the issue of debt profile of the company. And like I agree with him, so pettiness in our politics, no. Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes you can't help it because who expect to say, they are the ones who encourages to make noise. This noise about introduce you levies on petrol. We're the ones leading people who don't even understand what it is to make all kinds of noise. Debt profile no, is important. Debt profile in terms of a car for the bank no, running to about 80 million Ghana cedis. A so saying sikakra na bank no. The arrangement, you know, and it say Fortis Bank is prepared to take care about 30% of the debt, 70% of it offload to SNET. SNET is over formal what we call debt collection for want of if it's a debt collection
as a mobile
and then in SNET over the period their collection rate and all that. Yeah, I'm sure you know no car. 70% of about 80 million car. Now your pensioners because some they will go and support Fortis Bank, the new bank Abano. No, almost Ajiji says, almost to Ajiji says, your pensioners and the debate. These are nagging questions, sir. You need a response. Maybe a response, Papa, also. You understand? For instance, $41 million now. Fortis for Kano. Omukunye Kano. I feel Omukobo Humbisiana. And Omo was Kano. These are not new. Omo decided say Ombe running a lean kind of administration. Until that says Omo merchant bank, you know, there must be some retrenchment. What is the arrangement? Omo decided on the coffee, you know. Is there any available funds for them, even if they want to leave?
Said they all cannot wait on here more time. Here more time. And see, me person they ebe so ha so hu ebrepa mu no we any producers in can ho asem. Share up a standard version of this program na yet me e de akyekere emu yie pa. Because issues ni bi ho no mo a hia mpokra say to say debt to ne ho keka ho ni nyina ye bobo so bi na manfo hu say dey ka senator asem ne ho keka ho no ye sika ya contribute to da ho no eno na say come say say dikosi awowa na ya fechiri aba ba digit.
Let me also add something before you continue very quickly. So said been Fred sir. Papa we in account parliament some time ago. The former finance minister, Dufo, Dr.
Kwabena Dufo.
I say he can't pay the. What I say, and for those in finance, they will tell you that also. And yet, Bibia, yes, Sikasem, especially with the, because it's a growth. What I say, and the banks, their onerous is to protect their customers. What I say? Inti nyao kase as I say who omwa ebia de kane ne keka ka hono. Please it will not help the interest of the bank.
But
No.
You also understand, say, Senate, I am no mere your contributions.
You see,
so you
take Senate on. Wait. So you take Senate on, you don't veer into.
You can't just take Senate on.
No. Listen, no. That is not your duty. It is the bank's duty to go after its money.
But it's our duty.
You come and sit on air and say, "Wait, they cannot put here." No, for me, I think you are
honorable.
Yes.
Honorable, that's not the issue.
Yes.
Their contribution to Senate.
That's right.
And to Senate, enter to a venture. And you will be a contribution behind the Benya Wakonya or bit me a team.
Exactly.
And you have to ask the questions.
No, I'm telling you, sir. You see, what you like, Sabi, be Makwako Bob Busian or bank. Now, me din ewo bank record so say Bako Bob Busian or bank. Now, Senate any onu bank ninti as I say about me din or radio so.
That's not the issue.
Yes, but that's the impression you are creating. That's the impression you are creating.
This year, yes. Na ebia said okay. Okobo Busian or bank. No real question. I say your salaries no.
Or the
meba. Oh, Okobo Busian. I see our out to way. Honorable, out to way. Or your salaries no. Akwa bank just because bank no any good standing. Nemom eni pana omode bank ne kan bi ti se wo oba be gigi sika no nanumu no mensa ka misika. Shouldn't I ask questions?
No, for me
it's not about who didn't I no. Who can say who didn't about there?
For me,
let's say you are being selfish.
No. Listen, a bank rule as some account.
A bank rule, but also
a bank rule as
a lifetime contribution.
No. Master, Obi Komo Obi Busian. There are terms and conditions.
Those terms, no, I was here terms and I see.
Yes.
Set me can ma contribute na de be me go a. Ye de be ma me ama me de ahwe me ho ko se me go no. E go nkodi baby ba sa na pe be ye no. Me nkontwema no me aso.
If the bank
because you me no tie manfo a. The bank has its discretion. No, I know that is where the politicians will take this. 1 minute, Mr. 1 minute on WikiLeaks.
Oh, and sorry,
anyway, 1 minute in
full-time lifeline story.
Okay. All right. Then on the debate here, the debate all right, John, I'm saying it's a say lucky back in the Kadarama, and it's meeting Komoy Ebremu, Yababi Disika Home Komobiso, Edia Twas, when Timothy and Nahaya, Yabai.